Hello guys, welcome to another episode of our Angular scripting language tutorial. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create new component in Angular. Now it is important guys that we put our codes into several components because we could reuse the code if we will do so, and we could link our component to our another component within the Angular project. If we are not going to do this and we put our codes into one app component HTML, then it will be a spaghetti codes. It will not be organized and we could not reuse that code. So let's start it. Let's start. Okay, so we open our terminal. Make sure that you open your terminal already and you go to your folder where you put your project, and you give the command ngserve for your project to be compiled successfully before we dive into our codes. All right? For this project, we're going to create a component for our footer, a component for our header, and also a component for our main container that we could put every interface that we need to create, and of course a new interface for a new student, an interface for a new student. Okay, let's get started. Let's open our project. Let's open our Visual Studio editor. Open our file project folder. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to do here is to um, open our terminal, a terminal here within the Visual Studio Code editor. Okay, let me expand our first app project. So let's open our new terminal. Okay. As you could see here, my terminal is a Microsoft Windows command prompt. Now, some of you may not be this terminal, may not appear this kind of terminal. Instead, it is a PowerShell, Windows PowerShell. So we have to switch from PowerShell to Windows command prompt. So in order to do so, you have to go to your select button here, combo box, click, and then click on the select default shell. You select this option, select default shell, and then it will ask you if what default shell you're going to use. Is it the command prompt, the Windows basic one, or the Windows PowerShell? We're going to select the command prompt, okay, and then close your terminal, open again. After that, if it is successful, you could be able to switch now successfully to the Windows basic command prompt. Okay? All right. Now in here, we are ready now to create our new component. So in order to do so, let us give our command ng generate component, and then the name of the component. So let's have our header first. Click. All right. So after that, the component or Angular will generate 4 files, and if you will notice it's the same file, the same kind of file with our app. Okay, with our app. So we have also the component HTML where we put all our HTML codes, including Bootstrap, the TS, the component.ts, and our CSS for our CSS file. So basically, it is a batch of 4 files needed. In every component, there are these 4 files created. Okay, so let's create another one for our footer. Let's shorten up the command, and G, instead of writing generate, just say G space and then C for the component, and then footer. Press enter. And again, it will create these 4 types of file. Now we have a footer, the header. Okay. Now before we move on to our main container and our new student interface component, let me open the app module.ts. Let me show you something here. Okay, so after we have created our header and footer, you notice here that it automatically imports our header component and our footer component and created our ng module for the header and the footer. So every time we create a new component for our project, it will import automatically that component in our app module.ts. Okay, so once you delete the component that you have created, make sure that you delete also the import of that component and the declaration in the ng module. Okay, so that you will not be experiencing some problem with your project. Now let's close this one. And then we create another component for our main container. So we will name that as main. Okay, then we create another one for our um, new student interface. Okay, so okay guys, so we have now all the components that we need: the header, the header, the main, and the new student interface. Now we have to put our commands or codes or script for all these components, and then we merge them together inside the main. So we put our header and footer in the main, and in between them is our new student interface. And then the main container, we're going to place it in the app.component HTML. Okay, because the app component at HTML is the one that will be displayed in our browser. Okay, so let's start with our footer. Let's expand that one. Let's go to the footer component at HTML. Let's change this one to, say, H4. Okay, this is a footer. All right, save. Let's save that one. And then we put some CSS for our footer. Okay, H4 for our H4. Oops. Oh, H4. Okay, let's put it on the center. Go. Save of our CSS. All right. Now, before we go to the header, let me show you something again. You go to footer.component.ts, and I would like to redirect your attention to our selector. Okay, the selector is the name of our component that we will use later on when we link it to another component or place it to another component. So the selector for our footer is app-footer. So take note of that. Okay, let's close this one. Let's go to our header. Let's open our HTML for the header. Now we change our header into a navbar. So I have created a navbar here with 3 links, okay? 3 menus. So let's see what it looks like later on. So after that, let's save. Now let's open our header component TS to see our selector, and the name is app-header. Okay. Now let's go to our new student interface. Okay, go to our HTML, and in here we're going to create an interface for a form, I should say, for a new student registration form in order for a student to be able to enter their information. Okay, so let's remove this one. Okay, so as you could see here, I have a header, a title, registration form that is in the center, and then div. Also, I lay out the form using the column and the class and the row. I have some label, an input type of a text input type. I have also a radio and a select form, and then also the button that is needed for this form. Okay, let's save. There we go. We are now ready to link this all together, the header, the footer, the new student, into our main container. So let's open our main container, HTML. So what is the name of our footer again? Our header, I should say. Header.component.ts is app-header. So app-header. Okay. We use our selector. After our header, we put our new student interface. So what's the name of that? We go to our new student component TS. The name is app-new student. That is our selector's name. Okay? So, new student. Don't forget the dash, guys. And then also our footer. Okay, there you go. Save. Now, as you could see here, you could be able to recognize now that the codes that we are using here are more organized rather than putting all together into one component. And then you could be able to reuse that component, link that to another component using the selector. Okay? So, we put this main container now into our app main or app HTML, app component HTML. This is the one that is being displayed, that will be displayed in our browser. Save. Now let's see. Let's go to our browser. Type here localhost and then colon 4200. There you go. So this is our header, the navbar we have. This is our footer. And of course, our new student registration form. Registration form for our new student. So all of these three components are placed together in one container, which is the main component. And the main component is put or placed in our app.component.html. In this way, we could be able to reuse our header if we will create another one. And we could be able to create some sort of routing or conditionals in our main component where what is supposed to be displayed. Like, for example, if you want to display an delete or update of student information rather than new student, then we could do something here in our main component. Now, you could see here that it's easier to manage our code if we do this, if we divide it into several components, if we do this way. Okay? Try this one. It's very easy, and I hope you will enjoy it. And you watch my next video to learn more about Angular. Goodbye.